181, 182, my friends. All right, you want to lose 30 pounds in 90 days? Yeah, I bet. Who doesn't? You want to do it and you want it to be extremely easy, of course. I can do this, I can make this happen, I can even show you, but the reality is, you know you, and I have a feeling I know you too. But anyway, welcome to Walk Talk Vent. Let's do this. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Listen, I want you guys at home to know something. I am not against weight loss surgery, and I'm not against Ozempic and Wegovy for folks that absolutely need it. I just think in a lot of people's cases, they don't necessarily need it yet. And if anything, I just want to try to talk them into, giving me a couple of weeks to a couple of months just to see if I can get them on the right track. On top of that, many, many surgeries are actually successful. So I don't want you to think that they are all negative. I'm showing you examples of side effects that people have had that make them wish they would have thought about things a little bit, further than they did. Today, I want to share with you Kara Chapman. If you look at Kara, she's got the most pretty eyes ever. I think they're green. She's got beautiful looking skin. She likes to do makeup. She's a success when it comes to her surgery, or at least on the videos that I've seen of her. But today, she's going to share a couple of more negative ones. And remember, once again, I'm sharing the negative ones with you because I'm hoping that you'll give exercise one more shot before you go into weight loss surgery, because after weight loss surgery, you're going to have to do diet and exercise anyway, right? So I'm going to hush up now. Let's hear what Kara has to say.
My name is Kara. I am a 40-year-old professional and a mother of two, and makeup is my escape. It's my happy place. It sets my heart on fire. For a little bit of background information about me, I underwent gastric bypass surgery at the end of August in 2019. I have now lost 120 pounds. I've been rather stagnant over the last 2 to 3 months, but I'm not sweating it because I'm not gaining. I'm just not losing right now. I'm in a bit of a stall. That's okay. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the immediate side effects, like the day after surgery and how you feel and things like that. I have other videos talking about that. I have a whole playlist of my gastric bypass surgery videos, so I will throw a card up so that if you do want to see more, you can head on over there and see what I've got going on. This video is not meant to scare anybody off, but it's really just to talk about what the reality of life after gastric bypass surgery is, bearing in mind that everybody is going to have different experiences. I have been lucky in that I haven't had any truly terrible side effects. I didn't have any strictures or anything like that. I didn't need any sort of corrective secondary surgery. I never had any of those issues. But I certainly have had other side effects and some rather common side effects as well. So I just kind of want to put them on your radar again without sort of scaring you off.
Well, geez, now that she says it that way, I'm scared. I think this is going to be some scary stuff. All right, hold on tight, gang. Here we go.
Pleasant at all. Another side effect that deals with the aftermath of eating, and I'm just going to put a quick trigger warning right here. I am going to be talking about vomit. Not in graphic detail, but if you're sensitive to that kind of thing, just don't listen to this part. But you get really used to throwing up very quickly. And it's a really weird sensation because it's not like you're super nauseous, it's just that your body needs to make room. At least that's how I experience it. It doesn't feel like I have the flu or anything like that. I don't actually feel sick to my stomach. It's just my body needs to purge itself, basically. And oddly enough, what usually happens is just if I drink with my meal, which they tell you not to, and I'm not good at following that rule, I will own that. I'm not good at it, but then I pay the consequence. So again, it's get it through your head and just do it.
Did I just hear her right? You can't drink with your meal after surgery. Now, I don't know if that's right or not, but if you can't have some water to take with your meal, that seems like that would make for a horrible meal.
If I drink with my meal or if I have like a broth-based soup, it's the liquid that comes up. Everything else kind of stays in place, but only the liquid comes up. I can't explain it, but there it is. It doesn't happen all the time, but I would say at least every other day I am sick to my stomach at some point. Not sick to my stomach, but I vomit. I'm trying to use a colloquialism. I don't feel sick, it happens.
I think we can all agree at this point that that's just a side effect that you're going to get. What scares me is that everybody makes it sound like I'm not vomiting that much. I only barf about once or so a day. That's a lot. And that's why we've been hearing about the tooth issues. I think even if you've had a successful surgery now, I think there's going to be a time in the near future where you're probably going to have tooth and mouth issues and throat issues because of this. Leave your comments if you agree or disagree, please.
And then it passes and I'm fine. But just be aware that that is a very common side effect. Okay, while we're talking bodily functions, why don't we get into the really embarrassing stuff? And that would be flatulence. You're gonna stink probably for the rest of your life. Like, you could clear a room and peel paint off the walls. Super attractive. It's fantastic. And you cannot escape it. So I'm sure I'm not alone in here. When you have to do this and there might be somebody else around, if you like kind of like press down really hard into the cushion and hope that it absorbs everything, most times that works and nobody else is any the wiser. Not so much after gastric bypass. It does not matter unless you actually fart into a black hole. Everybody's going to smell it and it's awful.
Okay, so note to self, apparently women like to press down when they fart in your couch. I'll have to remember that one. Please don't do that, ladies.
It's awful and it's embarrassing and I kind of hate it, but you know what? It is what it is. Like, it is what it is. It's because the food doesn't digest the way that it normally does, and so the bacteria don't get to break it down as much, and so it's basically just like rotting food sitting in your body until it's expelled, and it smells awful. There it is. I can't sugarcoat it. It is what it is. And also, especially early on, like especially I would say the first 6 to 7 months after surgery, don't trust any fart. And you know what? It's just kind of a standing rule at this point. I just don't trust them still.
Guys, when you're walking, drinking water, and avoiding sugar, you can trust the occasional fart. As you get a little older, we'll have to ask our 50 and 60-year-old viewers, but you can trust a fart every now and then, I think. Possibly not.
But especially then. Like, what I mean by that is that it's not always air. And after you have crapped your pants in the parking lot of the grocery store, you learn pretty quickly not to trust them. Speaking from experience. Yeah, it is unpleasant, truly. And also, while your body is still like not understanding how to absorb stuff, I would highly recommend avoiding really high fat foods, butter, oil, all that kind of stuff, because you will see it again. It will ruin your pants. I promise. And I mean, once you ruin pants, you have to replace them, but let's be honest, you have to replace your clothes anyways, because you're going to lose sizes. And so it can become very expensive. So that is something to take into consideration and to sort of budget in advance and have a game plan of what it is that you're going to do. Are you going to go to thrift stores? Are you going to just buy all new wardrobes?
You know, I said in past shows to go to thrift stores if you want to get like a vintage shirt. In the past, I would have said pants, but now after this, don't get pants.
As you decrease sizes. I mean, everybody has their own budget for this kind of thing. I would recommend not replacing like everything in a full size, because at some point you're gonna fly through some sizes. Like, just
So I'm really glad that we got to share Kara Chapman's channel with each other today, and I urge you to go visit Kara Chapman's channel and subscribe and check out a couple of her videos. She talks a lot about makeup and fun stuff. She's got a very energetic channel that I think you guys would really enjoy. But with that being said, there's just a couple more negative things that you can think about. So let's go over this. Chronically, Stephanie said that with her strictures and other complications, she just never wanted to go through this again, right? Mel in real life with the tooth decay, probably really regrets going through this. Armari Long with the bad breath and the protein addiction that she's got going. And now Kara with the vomit and the stinky gas. It's one of those things where it's like, gosh, really think twice before you do these surgeries, guys. And I think you guys are actually on my side in this, that we're not against people that go through surgeries. In this case, Kara's is actually a success, and she has a lot of videos that talk about the pros with this. But I'm glad that she made this video so that we could share with you. If you would, go grab your shoes. Let's go for a walk. My name is Jesse. I take people for walks. I have problems, you have problems, we all have problems. And that's why 94% of all people don't care. They just don't have the time. I'm going to take you for a walk today because you've always known how to walk. I'm going to show you how to drink water because you've always known how to drink water. And I'm going to show you how to avoid sugar because you've always known how to avoid sugar. And I'm going to show you how to lose weight because deep down, you've always known how. I can do this, you can do this, we can do this. Let's do this. My name is Jesse. I take people for walks. Good morning, or depending on what time of day you're watching or tuning in, good afternoon or even good evening, right? Guys, today I want to talk with you about something that a lot of guys kind of talk about, but I don't think too many women talk about this, and since most of my viewers are women, I want to talk with you about stoicism and being stoic, because I don't think women talk about stoicism very much amongst themselves, but I think you should. So I'm going to talk with you a little bit about stoicism, which I like to define as the subtle art of not really caring too much about what people think and not really giving a poop. Okay? As a woman and as a dad, okay, not a guy, but as a dad, and then as a woman, it's kind of our nature to care, right? Before you're a dad, you don't necessarily have to care too much, right? But once you do have a daughter or a son, you find yourself worrying about them, right? And when you're a girl or a woman, you don't necessarily have to have a daughter or a son to find yourself caring and putting a lot of heart into a lot of different issues and subjects, including friends, right? Guys care about their best friends, but I don't think they care about their best friends the way girls and women do. And that's a really great gift, girls and women out there. I think that is really incredible that you guys are willing to put your heart into so much. But I want to talk with you about stoicism because when you're taking a walk all the time, sometimes you're going to have family members or even friends that say, "Oh, come on, Becky, you can skip a day. You can, you can skip a week. We can go out of town and you can just, for a whole week, you don't have to worry about your walking or this, that, and the other. Stoicism says that we don't really care what other people think about. We're going to do what we need to get done, right? So with women out there that find themselves in this position, and dads out there that find themselves in this position where they care too much, okay? Sometimes you have to say, I'm going to go on a walk daily. I don't care what people think. I'm going to give up sugar. I don't care what the family members think, right? And more importantly with Stoicism, and this is where it comes back to our mental health, ladies and gentlemen, that this impacts. Sometimes we stress and put a lot of caring and effort into something that's not there, right? Part of the reason that I started this channel so late in the year, because this is a channel that you want to start when it's cold outside and you have plenty of opportunities to walk, right? As opposed to a Phoenician or a person in Arizona waiting till the summer when it becomes more challenging to walk, right? And now here we are at the end of March and I find myself closer to the summer than I am to the heart of the winter, at least here in Arizona, And it's going to start getting warmer real quick. But part of the reason I started late, in addition to finding out that my computer and my software and my hardware wasn't really up to par, right? Was also the fact that I kept telling myself, I think I'm going to get fired, right? But because my grandma and a lot of your parents instilled in us, in this generation of folks, we had instilled in us this idea that you never quit, that you always try your best, that you don't ditch work, that you don't come in late, that you don't leave early, that the job is important because you have bills to pay. We have responsibilities, right? So even though I thought I was going to get fired from work, never once did I give up. I tried my best, like we always should, right? What happened because of that is my job said, hey, you're struggling. But in you, we have somebody that puts maximum effort regardless if they're struggling or not. And I'm proud of that. What did that earn me? It earned me a situation where my job didn't fire me. Now, knock on wood, that could change tomorrow, right? But I can't worry about something that hasn't happened yet. That's what Stoicism dictates, girls, okay? Ladies, excuse me. If you're stressing about a job firing you before they fire you, you're really doing a disservice to your mental health and probably your physical health as well. This is kind of leads me to being reactive versus proactive. Do you want to be one of these folks that waits till they're fired and then completely freaks out, right? Because I'm telling you in one moment not to freak out about things that you don't know are going to happen because they might not happen. In other words, you don't want to freak out about losing your job, because if you don't lose your job, you ended up freaking out and causing a lot of mental strife for yourself for absolutely nothing, right? But at the same time, we don't want to be reactive, because if we do lose a job, then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, the sky is falling. So what you want to do is, if you think you're going to potentially lose your job, don't stress about it because you haven't lost it yet, but you want to be proactive, right? So maybe you fix up your resume. You have your resume waiting just in case, right? And by being proactive there, you can actually give yourself permission not to stress too much. Because just like me, you might find yourself in a spot where 3 months later, you haven't been fired. And what happens? I ended up having a channel start, a week and a half ago, rather than 3 months ago when I wanted it to start. And don't get me wrong, 3 months ago, it would have been really a little bit more challenging because I was just freshly recovering from my surgery, right? Whereas now I'm, about 70, 80 days past that final recovery point. Another thing with Stoicism that, again, goes against our nature, women and dads, is the fact that you want to be able to not necessarily worry about anything. Now, I gave you a scenario there with losing your job and then you end up not losing it, and that worry and strife was a waste of time, right? You can worry about your family, and it's in your nature, and I can tell you not to worry about it, but it's in our nature. We're going to worry about our kids, right? About our loved ones and friends. But what we can do is we can make it where we at least don't necessarily care what people think. So when you go out every day and you look like the overweight woman that's walking endlessly, and people are thinking, why doesn't she get a gym membership, right? What is she doing? She looks silly out here walking, right? That's something you're putting in your head, okay? And even if it's true, there's no need to stress over it, right? There's absolutely no need to stress over it. People are going to do things that don't make sense to you your whole life, so why do you have to worry about what they think of you when you're doing something, right? And a lot of times, when you're no longer helping them with what they need done because they're a narcissist, there's a word that women talk about a lot, right? But when you guys talk about narcissism, a lot of times you guys are talking about people that you've dated before, exes, right? And your current husband isn't a narcissist until you break up and get a divorce, right? Then he was always a narcissist. What you got to remember is that at certain points in the year of a person, almost everybody comes across as a narcissist, right? Because everybody out there, no matter how you slice or dice it, is looking out for themselves. So the way that you can fight narcissism, and I bet you half of you ladies are dealing with a classic narcissist, right? The way you fight that is through Stoicism. You say, you know what? You don't want to call me? You don't want to go out this weekend, Bob? Then I don't need you. I'm going to go out with the ladies. We're going to have a good time without you, right? And I'll tell you what, if you start doing it like that, Bob's going to want to slide right back into your DMs, Stoicism is super important. A lot of guys, before they become dads, have Stoicism naturally. They act like they don't care. They act like there is no tomorrow, right? They act wild and reckless and free. And because you girls and ladies tend not to act that way, give yourself permission to not really care so much, right? This is your time when you're walking to care about yourself, right? And if you think about it, we can apply Stoicism and not caring so much to a lot of things, because if you think back upon your life, how many things did you worry about and stress about and put time and hours into that ended up not being that big of a deal? Is to start thinking things on a proactive scale. What am I going to do if this happens? I'm going to have a plan, and then I'm going to be stoic and not stress about it. I have a plan. I'm going to trust the process. If people want to go this way with me, this is the way I'm going to go with them. But I refuse, and tell yourself this, ladies and dads out there, or guys that just find themselves thinking about others a little too much, I refuse to let other people affect my happiness. And trust me, for me to tell you that doesn't mean that I've never been guilty of it. I have. We all have, right? Your girlfriend, Bob, should not affect your happiness completely. Your boyfriend, Susie, should not affect your happiness completely. Girls, your best friend, Becky, not wanting to hang out with you because she found a new girlfriend to hang out with, right? And now you're kind of the spare or the backup. Although that hurts and that might bother you. Hi, good morning. don't let that bother you, right? Stoicism. It's the subtle art of not giving a crap. It will change your life for the better, and when you're doing something like we're doing, blending up bananas in a blender, not buying chips and stuff, it's going to be very easy for your family and friends to say, oh my God, Becky doesn't want to even drink anymore. Let's not invite her to Macayo's for lunch. Do you guys have Macayo's where you live? It's like a Mexican restaurant. Here in Arizona, we absolutely love Mexican food. And if you've ever tried Mexican food, I'm sure you love it too. And I don't want to sound naive because I know that most places around the country have really good Mexican restaurants where they can at least try Mexican food. But I remember back in the 90s, and again, this was quite a while ago, but I was talking to a woman in Illinois over the phone, and I had mentioned tortillas, that I love bread, but I really love flour tortillas, right? And she goes, what's a tortilla? Now, again, that was 30 years ago, and I'm sure since then she's gotten a couple Taco Bells in her neighborhood or something, right? But if you haven't tried Mexican food, try Mexican food. You'll love it. And I know that most of you have tried Mexican food, but if you like Mexican food, let me know about it. When you go to the Mexican restaurant in the future, it's one of those restaurants where you probably gain a pound or two every time you visit it. The way you can stop that is to avoid the soda there at the restaurant. Not all the time. You know, if you're there for a special occasion, have the soda. But if you go to this Mexican restaurant or your favorite restaurant every week, sometimes twice a week, you can avoid the soda every now and then, right? It's not going to kill you. And when your husband or wife says, come on, get a soda, don't be a jerk, there's two ways to look at it. Sometimes I'm going to tell you, have the soda. You're enjoying yourself. You've been walking like crazy. Have the soda. But other times you can apply stoicism right there and say, hey, I don't care that you want me to drink a margarita. I have a goal right now that I'm trying to hit for the next 90 days. Be upset at me if you want. I'm not drinking a margarita today. Although you'd probably enjoy the margarita. So, ladies, I think we can safely say, without coming across as a sexist, that one of the downfalls of our nature as women, again, I'm not a girl, but I'll play one on TV this morning. I think sometimes the weakness as a woman is that you care a little too much. And if you look back at those things, how many things did you stress and worry about that ended up not coming true, right? With guys, I remember when I was in high school, you would have a verbal argument with somebody, and there was always a chance, always, that could spill over into a fight, right? Now that's something to worry and stress about. Is Joe gonna kick my butt? Do I have to run to the bus after school, right? And that might be something to legit stress about for a guy. And there are some women out there that'll try throwing hands at you, don't get me wrong. But again, the stress and the cortisol that comes from that sticks to your gut. So you might not have thought I was going to go anywhere with that, but I am. All that excess worrying might be sticking in your gut. And when your gut is fat and heavy and the rest of your body isn't, that's probably an indicator that you're stressing out a lot. Now, I guarantee you, somebody's probably not going to write this in the comments, but somebody right now is stressing out because of their job. If you absolutely know that your job is just stressing you out and you cannot apply stoicism. In other words, sometimes you don't have the ability to not care because people are constantly in your face at your job and people are constantly causing you grief. If you are stressed out to the point where you are keeping your fat and your weight in your gut, you probably have poor gut health, okay? And when I say poor gut health, I'm not talking about microbiomes and taking collagen and all these weird things, right? That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, if you leave that job
If you get out of that grief, stress-filled situation, or if it is one of those situations that you're applying stress to that you don't need to, and you can apply stoicism, you're going to see your gut disappear. And that's not something you're going to hear from any other fitness or walking or weight loss channel. Part of getting out every day is you will find yourself tackling problems instead of avoiding them. You will find yourself coming up with proactive plans for your problems and issues rather than reactive explosions. You want to know a great way to lose your diet? Start eating sugar, forget about water and walking? Have a mental explosion on somebody, right? Have an argument, right? If you're trying to quit smoking cigarettes, you want a great way to start again? Have a fight or an explosion at work, right? Let Becky, Karen, Dale, Tom, let them upset you enough where all of a sudden your gut feels like crap, you're putting on weight again, you're back to smoking a pack a day, right? Hey, because of Jesse, I was weaning myself off cigarettes, but because of Dale, I'm back to a pack and a half a day. Well, that's great, isn't it? You're giving Dale an awful lot of godlike powers. Be stoic. Let's make a decision proactively right now today. We're going to try, because you can't always just jump into something. You have to baby step into these things, right? We're going to try not to stress as much today as we did yesterday. And tomorrow, we're going to try to stress even less, because 90% of the things that we stress on don't ever come to fruition, right? If you lose your job, you're not going to stress as much as you would, because you're going to have your resume ready and you're going to be proactively ready with a plan if that happens. Does that make sense? If, on the other hand, we don't apply proactiveness and we stick to our reactive ways, then just know you're doing great on your walk and you're doing great on your diet today, but tomorrow you're going to have a fight with Dale and Becky, and you're going to start drinking and eating sweets, and you're going to not care that you gain another 10 pounds. And guess where that stressful 10 pounds is going to go? It's not going to go into your muscles, right? It's going to go into your gut. And it's literally going to show itself to the humans around you as a gut that needs working on, right? You're literally going to gain weight, and it's going to stick to you, and you're going to have a hard time getting rid of it as long as that stress is in your life. Okay? So, because you care so much, I am going to give you permission. This is part of hypnotizing you, girls and guys. I'm going to give you guys permission to try stoicism for the rest of this week. If somebody's freaking out and they need you to get to them right away, try to assess, is this something where I really need to get to them right away? And if you don't. Okay? Let them know. Good morning. Yeah. Let them know that they're stressing you out, and you've made a choice not to let them stress you out anymore. Okay? And if you do this in work, it's super duper powerful. Okay? You don't necessarily have to be vocal about it. Dale, you're stressing me out. You're making me feel fat. You're making me have a hard time losing weight. You know, if you start doing that, pretty soon people are going to be laughing about you at the office. But let's say they do laugh about you at the office for any number of reasons, right? Maybe they didn't like the t-shirt you were wearing, right? Maybe they don't like who you vote for in politics, right? There's a million reasons why people might not be that fond of you. Who cares? Let it go. They don't care about your life. If you have a good relationship with your boss and they say, you know what, Jennifer is a teacher's pet when it comes to the boss, who cares? They're going to be fired and gone a month from now. You and your boss are going to be there together for the next 6 years. Why don't you want to be friends with your boss? Sometimes our friends and coworkers give us horrible advice. The best way you can tell if advice is horrible is, does this really make sense all the time, or are there exceptions? If someone's telling you not to be friends with your boss, they're giving you bad advice. Now, I'm not saying when your boss says, hey, I need you to work overtime, and yeah, I know it's your grandchild's birthday party, but cancel it. I need you in here. You know, that's a boss that might be taking advantage of you. You know, sometimes it's good to say, hey, I respect you. I enjoy working for you and the company, but I didn't sign on for Saturdays, right? I have a day off. I was never told in the interview process that I have to ditch my days off for you. Okay, now you don't want to say it like that, okay? That's where you can be proactive and have a proactive speech ready for such things. You're going to quickly find on your walk that you're able to mentally dive into your think tank every single time you walk, right? And if you mentally dive into your think tank and if you mentally have reactions and ideas ready, they no longer are reactions. You're being proactive. You're ahead of the game. I know for a fact that there are moments right now that you're probably thinking of in the past with exes where you ended up stressing and making a lot of mountains out of molehills. It's not your fault. I mean, it is your fault, but it's only your fault because you care too much. So remember, the number one thing with stoicism is you have to realize and you have to say, hey, maybe Jesse's right. Maybe I am thinking and stressing a little bit too much about this. Maybe I'm letting Dale and Katie at work upset me a little too much, because I'm telling you, a good portion of your weight when you're in a stressful situation is related to your cortisol levels, and it shows by having that extra spare tire in your gut area. I have that situation right now. I'm letting it go by doing my channel here. And what's going to happen is I'm going to lose that gut because I'm no longer letting it be a negative thing in my life. I'm telling myself that that's part of the reason I'm doing a show. Here's my good neighbor that walks with me every day. He walks with his dog. Good morning.
Good morning.
I like this kid because he and his wife, and they have a baby. I don't know if it's a baby boy or baby girl, but I'll see them pushing their stroller every now and then. He takes a walk with the dogs every morning. And that would be something that he could easily just let his dog in the backyard, right, and not stress about it. But he doesn't. He takes that dog on a walk every morning. And then a couple of times in the afternoon, I'll walk to the store and I'll see him, and it's either his wife or his girlfriend, but they'll be pushing their baby along in a stroller. And I just tell myself, my goodness, any time in the future that a problem arises in their family, they've got a good teamwork built. Is your husband sitting in the living room gaining weight while you're trying to lose weight? Tell him that you love him a bunch and that you'd like to invite him on a walk with you. And if he says no, we're not going to strip. We're definitely not going to strip for him, right, ladies? We're not going to trip. We're not going to get upset. We can't make our goals imposed on others. We can't do that, right? But if you let him know every day, I go for a walk, John, and I'd really love for you to join me, no pressure, there might be a day where he joins you, you know? If he ever says, as you're getting ready to go on your walk, hey, Katie, now I'm making you Katie, hey, Joyce, there's something important here I really want to talk with you about. Well, John, why don't you get your walking shoes on? Let's go for a walk. Let's talk about it, right? And then when you're on a walk, just say, John, I've learned something over the past couple days, weeks, or months. I've learned that by walking, not only do I feel better about myself, but you and I could probably come up with a plan while we're on a walk. Because when you're walking, your blood's flowing, the conversation is great. I think you should walk by yourself because I want you to nose breathe. But the way you can do that when you're having a conversation with somebody that's walking with you is you can actually close your mouth, breathe through your nose, and listen to what they have to say, you know? I don't know if you guys noticed this, but the very first day I was interviewing Stacy, she was the woman that said she lost 130 some odd pounds and said that she was a cancer survivor. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I have a real bad habit of sometimes cutting off people. And I listened to what she had to say, especially when I was editing the film. But this woman told me right to my face, I lost 137 pounds. Right there, my jaw should have dropped and I should have said, yay, you lost 137 pounds, you know? But I was worried about, is the camera seeing her? And instead of actually enjoying something that she had accomplished, I lost out on the moment. I wasn't even really paying attention. And then to make matters worse, I cut her off. Are you cutting off people when you talk to them, guys? If so, it's really disrespectful. You need to listen to people when they talk to you, okay? Once you listen to them, if you can ascertain that, hey, this is their problem, it's not a me problem, then I give you permission to let it go, and literally let it go. Everything that you stress over in life, that you shouldn't stress over in life, just know it might be affecting your gut, okay? It might be affecting your gut. Oh my God, if I have bad microbiome, do I need to go have yogurt? Well, if you do, go get the plain yogurt, right? Without any sugar in it, and throw a banana in there, okay? Do not get Greek yogurt with fruit in it, even though it tastes super dull and it's really good for you. I basically fell off both of my diets through Greek yogurt because I wanted to gain muscle, and at first the yogurt does it. But then instead of chopping up a banana or having plain yogurt, before you know it, you're buying the peach flavor and the pina colada flavor and the pineapple flavor. And before you know it, your diet goes out the window and you're gaining weight again. So remember, the moral of the story today is try to apply stoicism to your life, guys.